So I'd like to pass the torch to Chris down at Braille Scale.
What? How'd he see me? I'm camouflaged.
Hey guys, it's Chris with Braille Scale. I was nominated by Scott over at Small Soldier to do the quarantine challenge, and that's basically just a tour of the modeler's workbench. And if you thought my intro was ridiculous, you should definitely go check out his quarantine challenge with his excellent Count Floyd tribute. But he was nominated. He was very kind to nominate me, and my subscription rate has definitely shot through the roof. So, welcome if you are new to the channel. I appreciate it, and thanks a lot to all my longtime subscribers. Showing you guys a little slideshow here of some completed works that I've been able to knock out during this quarantine. The Panzer IV is 1/35th scale. That diorama took me probably a little over a year to finish, and then the 1/72nd scale AA gun, probably less than a week. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the challenge itself. So the workbench view, I've got brushes in the back, all my glues, brush cleaners, my go-to tools, including my new favorite razor saw, some sandpaper, it's 1000 grit, all that's there on the left-hand side. This is something I'm currently working on. It's a 250, one of the early types, with lots of angles on the hull. I've got a lot of the interior stuff finished up. At this point it's already glued together, and then I'm going to go ahead and spray the exterior. There's my Michael Rinaldi style oil paint cardboard palette. I'm an official YouTuber now, so I've got my YouTuber coffee mug here, and it says coffee or brush water, you decide. Actually, it's neither so far. I haven't put anything in there yet. I'm too scared. But moving on, we've got the photo etch bending tool, and then this is pretty cool. It's like a little silicone kind of small part grabber. I recently got this. It's an additional photo etch bending piece. It's really just a big metal blade. It costs like $2, but maybe a little nicer than those plastic ones. An actual coffee mug, and then my respirator. It's my wife. Hey Sarah. Some artwork on the wall. She got me this Bob Ross mug. It's pretty cool. It changes colors when it gets hot. And then we went to Iceland for our honeymoon. That was that other mug over there. There's my wood burning tool. This is my some of my paint collection. My odorless thinner, old MIG enamels, and my Wilder enamels up front. This is all Vallejo Model Air stuff. My most used colors up there, along with my oil paints and Mission Model stuff. And then some of those oil paints get stuck, so I've got some vice grips to help open that up. But I've got another shelf over here with my airbrush. It's an Iwata HPCS, I believe, and then that handle bending tool from RP Tools over there is pretty cool too. It's my only airbrush, so I wind up having to clean it quite a bit. It's always being used, and then it's just nice to be able to put the box and extra sprues down here out of the way. I got some other 148 scale kits and stuff in progress that are stored down here, but it's got its own light. Here's my liquid flux and solder. Moving on to our second storage shelf down here. This is kind of my painting supplies. I've got some frog tape, which is very useful. Tresemme, of course, for my hair, which is pretty long now. Some Mr. Surfacer 500, the leveling thinner to go with it. I think I've got some other liquid putty back there as well. Below that, you can kind of see my air compressor in the corner there, the standard basic model. And then, yep, all my groundwork supplies, glues, some toothpicks, acrylic pastes, drywall compound, extra super glue. This is the kind of storage area. I keep my soldering iron down here, my empty airbrush case. There's some isopropyl alcohol back there, which I forgot I had, so I probably could have made some hand sanitizer out of that. Oh well. Yep, but there it is, the basic compressor. This is all my scenery stuff, all my foliage, leaves, snow effects, things like that. This is pretty cool. I got a little, it's like a to-go bag. Right now I just shoved some stuff in there. I got some gloves and whatnot. But when my wife and I went to the beach, I packed up a 72nd scale kit and then a couple necessary tools, and probably some unnecessary tools, and yeah, packed it all up and took it to the beach. Anyway, we've got our future floor polish, which is now no longer called that. It's the Pledge. But I am still working. That's my work computer there. They've got me teleworking, which is nice. I've got a radio to listen to. This is all my Blu-rays, PlayStation games, kind of a junk drawer of sorts up on that shelf. And then the rest of my paints are down here. This is all just diorama basing material, foam. Art store acrylic paints, art store watercolor pencils. Then I've got all my Vallejo colors, my Vallejo splash mud, pigments in the back row there from Vallejo, from Abteilung, Wilder, MIG. I've got some AK brushes, AK watercolor pencils, so the rest of my oil paints there, some Wilder oils. This is my scratch building shelf. You can tell I don't do it very much because it's just a mess, but I have plastic sheets here. That's some extra files, metal files, some copper sheeting. Yeah, there's a little copper piece right there. It's a little thick. There's some thinner brass stuff. Yep, just cheesecloth for camo nets, wires to make handles. This is some extra scenery material there, some flocking, some great stuff. It's the Envirotex light for making water. But yeah, I've got this classic softbox set up, and then yeah, there's no actual overhead light in here, so if anything, at least my lighting's consistent. In the corner there is my stash. We can go ahead and go through that. This is all stuff I've completed within the last year or two. Not a whole lot, but I do have some figures up here from MIG Productions. I got a bunch of stuff when they were going out of business in the States. Rick Lawler, I think I ordered a bunch from him. But these are some airborne miniatures in 135. It's pretty cool stuff. I like these sets. This is a Recon Production Vietnam bust. These are 1/16 scale kits from Airborne Miniatures. I've got some 48 scale accessories, 72nd scale Chinook or something like that, a Humvee. These two kits I'm going to do in a Ukrainian paint job, and then I've got the big interior. I mean, look at the size of that box, full interior Bradley. This corner is kind of a bit of a like World War I section. A couple kits down there. We get into some 72nd scale stuff. This is the contour scheme paint set from AK, which I think is what I'm going to use for this. I don't think that honey was actually that blue. I think it definitely was more of a contour scheme. Anyway, I've got some figures, machine gunners for the Germans and the Soviets from Zvezda. Of course, the Cyber Hobby orange box value kits that come with the figures. That's always a pretty cool little touch. But this is my favorite vehicle here, the 251-22. Yep, these decals came from the 190 up there that I finished, so I'm sure I'll hang on to them forever and maybe they'll be useful. There's an ME262, then I've got some 35th scale early winter German soldiers, their makeshift camouflage, some diorama accessories, food, things like that. This is Verlinden plaster kits here. Here's my collection of dragon figures, pretty extensive collection, I guess. Maybe not, depending on what kind of collector you are. But at the bottom there's the newer Tamiya M10 that I'm looking forward to build. More dragon kits. I do want to get a photo etch set for this guy, for the fenders at least. So master box sets. This is some Tiger mechanics or German vehicle mechanics. I got a bunch of Verlinden figures. Most of these are probably U.S. mechanics. Different GIs, but yeah, it goes back in there. I think I've got another MIG figure tucked back in there, a German casualty in like a late war oak leaf pattern. Here is a line roar set for this flat gun. My brother got me this 251-17 with the same flat gun. Here's my favorite 251-22s, like I mentioned. Shout out to Panzermeister. Here's my Stug 3s. King Tiger, Sherman. This is pretty cool. That 3-in-1 Tiger kit. Definitely hard to find these days. That's the original release. But yeah, just diorama accessories, some Pack 40 ammo for my 251 22s, and then a bunch more MiG figures there. An old Warriors figure. That's actually a pretty cool little pose, like a wounded guy with a rifle, still trying to stay in the fight. Some Master Box kits. Mini arts at rest soldiers. That one's pretty cool too. The late war German guys, the Volkstrom. But yeah, definitely a lot of Dragon kits. I wouldn't say it's a vast majority, but certainly most of my kits are Dragon Cyber Hobby. Yeah, there's the Panzerwerfer 42 from Roden, and then down there from Italeri, this AFV Club T-34's got the track links. I've got a kind of an early mini art figure kit. See how decent that is. But this is an old 90s Jagdpanzer, Jagdpanther, sorry, and it's a mess. So I use it as kind of a test bed for my my wood burning tool, flame cut marks, and yeah, you can, if you can see them, but the mold had just a nasty bunch of raised detail around the roof. I'll see how much stippling with the putty it takes to clean it up, if it's even salvageable. Let's see, so the next shelf down, I guess, if we keep going down, we've got kind of like the sci-fi kits and things like that. This is a 1/100 scale BTR 80 that I plan to put alongside some of these Gundam kits down here that are also 1/100 scale. Some older Dragon figures, modern figures, SEAL Team guys, you know, the Sniper Team. Kenny Coughlin over at HobbyLink sent me this, not entirely on purpose, but he was kind enough to send it anyway. Over here was kind of an idea I had for almost like a shadow box force perspective kind of thing, where you have a 1/400 scale sinking ship and then a 1/48 scale Coast Guard helicopter kind of coming in over top. The old Tamiya PBR at the bottom, but I think that Object 279 kit, I mean, that's got to be at this point a post-apocalyptic diorama. I don't know if you can put that anywhere else. And as we fly by the Xbox here, this is my reference book library. This is all kind of real-world tactical stuff, some uniform books, and nonfiction, World War II. Yeah, more reference material, more nonfiction into Vietnam, and then my modeling specific books, the classic tank art series, some for Linden Way, diorama books, how-to diorama stuff. And speaking of which, here's my latest completed dioramas. I don't really have a display shelf, so that's something I'm working on, but in the meantime they kind of live in storage boxes or bins, or if they're too big, they just kind of sit on the shelf here. There's a 135 Panther G underway. That's their full Zimrit kit. It's pretty nice so far. I've got some Archer, you know, posters, pinups, some 1/72 scale Normandy kits, Sherman's Panzer IVs. This is kind of a leftover bin. Let's see, yep, we got the two Shermans from the Israeli service, the 50 and the 51, along with the modern Merkaba, and a Paladin with some Indie-Link tracks, British SAS guys. This is pretty sweet. One of my MiG kits I've got for the technical, the BJ45 and B11 recoilless rifle. So that's probably pretty fitting, right? You got maybe 5 minutes on the workbench and then another 10 minutes on the stash. So. Alright guys, well, if you made it to the end, thanks for watching. I really appreciate, again, all the new subscribers that I've gotten, and I hope to come out with some new content shortly. Definitely let me know if there's anything specific you guys want to see. I mean, I can put whatever I want out there, but if you guys have any recommendations, I will definitely take them.
Thanks a bunch, Scott, for nominating me. I really appreciate it. And now I got to nominate someone to go next. So I'm going to give a shout out over to Kenny Coughlin. He's with HobbyLink International and Sci-Fi Annecy. I know he's recently just moved, so I don't know if he's got it.
Take out the trash!
Man, this camouflage is useless. Alright, maybe if I just don't move.